What's up guys, Raveologist. Haven't done a video in a very long time on tutorial wise stuff, that is. I've been doing a bunch of uploads of songs I'm working on and all that. Feel free to check them out. But today what I wanted to show was how to make hardcore kicks in Serum. Now you can do like about any type of hardcore kick, from hardcore, industrial hardcore, Frenchcore, uptempo, etc., etc. And it's overall just more of a process on how you can make kicks with Serum, with some post-processing, maybe not so much, but really your basis starts in the synthesizer, in the box, with Serum. So to start off, you have to choose your oscillators for what sound you would like. I personally like to make sure, or like to choose my main oscillator to be a sine wave. Just put on a good note. E's pretty nice one to work with. And then with that, you have to introduce some pitch enveloping. So, for example, I'm going to use envelope 2 to make more of a. What I'm going to do with this envelope, that is I'm going to drop it on the chorus and then maybe like bring it up to 35. So now it'll sound like. So we have it raising the pitch to dropping it to make that more punchiness factor, make it more like a kick. We could do this right here. And from here, the pitch envelope is pretty important for different genres, like up tempo with those like peep kicks and whatnot. What you can do is you can bring this up and get this. I'll show that a little more later on what you can do with that exactly to make it those type of kicks. So yeah, you have your main bases. Now your second oscillator typically will be more of the character of the kick. So I don't know, if I just go through some wave tables, maybe find some different ones that have a good amount of fluctuation but are fluid. Don't want them to be too choppy. Of course, you can just probably go with the classic Serum ones that are in here. So, same thing. Make sure that when you are dropping the pitch envelope on both oscillators, that they are to go to the same number. So 35. So this one needs to be 35 as well. But yeah. So from here, you can. Now sometimes I will end up dropping this and then I'll FM carrier signal. So now you can mess with this, or maybe bring it back up a little bit. But right now, to be honest, I'm not really liking this one, so I'm gonna switch to maybe like, I don't know, BCS. So this is where you start to this is where you want to start using envelopes to kind of drive the different character in your sound. So for example, let's use LFO1 to mess with the frequency modulation. Like I'm kind of enjoying that. And I don't know, maybe a different one that's like controlling the wavetable position. Works for me. Of course, it's just having fun with it as well and messing around with it. Just to make sure, I just want to make sure that this is actually showing up. Okay, cool. It is. Nice. So yeah, now you have that as a basis. Now, the most important part for making this the basis is distortion. So with this one, we're not getting as much bass in the, like if I were to turn this off, then I'm adding it in. There could be many reasons for that. One, the way it doesn't have a, so it's not any of those like upper harmonics. another thing, probably take off the random, and then so like this one, it's starting in the middle, so it'll start with this wave. This is starting up here, so technically part of the frequencies are being cancelled. So easy fix. The wave a little bit. So if I start it here, then this will start and this will start, so then it's more peaked together. Because, for example, just to go off a whim, phase cancellation is sometimes a problem with kicks and whatnot. You want to always make sure that you're lining up correctly. So I'm going to turn off the random. Actually, hold on, sorry. It's my bad. Boom, there we go. So turn off the random. So they're both starting here. But say, on. There we go. But now if I take the phase of this and drop it over here, there is absolutely no signal. So, for example, of what this could possibly affect is, say I had this. See how it's super quiet? But now it's louder because I bring it over here, so you're only getting a little bit. So that's why you always want to make sure that things are going to be played together to make sense. Anyways, to continue. Another thing you can do is grabbing a filter. Typically the bandpass ones work well. I like bandpass 24. Taking down the mix, putting a little bit of drive and resonance, and then maybe adding back in a little more mix. Okay, there we go. So this allows you to add like where the punch is with the kick. So like mine is right here now. Sounds pretty good. And some other things you can do is like I'm finding for a lot of the industrial style kicks, you want to use reverb. Put the reverb behind the distortion and then create an LFO for it. Something like this. That's actually just on a whim of randomness. So that actually has allowed me to create kicks similar to these. Have post-processing, but for this, I'll just keep it like this. Now going back, say if I raise the tempo, if I wanted a more up-tempo kick, that trick of doing this, and then maybe bringing it back, get that little feeling to it. Now I'm wishing I didn't do that because now it sounds pretty close to the... Anyways, yeah. So now you have the basis to your kick. Now there's several things you can do. You could just say, there you go, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Or, of course, you can go ahead and add some post-processing. So maybe more distortion, whatnot. So typically I use isotope. Mainly because it allows you to do asymmetrical distortion, but the bipolar mode right here. So, you know, just saying like, oh, clip control, and then maybe just slight, like full bend here, slightly bend here. So the difference will be, and then changing the effects of that, like, seems like it's slightly affecting it, but once you start doing the EQ portion of working in the kick, you can start noticing the differences of between doing a symmetrical distortion or asymmetrical. So typically I like to do high pass before actual distortion, similar to that. Adds a little bit of different movement. And then I like to just maybe do, oh no, wrong one. 2 more EQ8s, and then 1 more distortion. So let's say amp driver. This one a little more, and this one. Okay, cool. So now this is where you get to just start messing with the kick. distortion. I already got the thing so that in overdriving it, it's not like you're distorting straight from a 909, which I did a tutorial a while ago where I do a kick basically from scratch from a 909, and this is a little bit easier because you're actually able to mess directly. Here's another thing you can do is you can do like maybe a little bit of a effect on the LFOs. This doesn't work that well as I thought it would. Maybe just do like a downward saw and then envelope. Like that. No. But yeah, so now you basically have the main. So what then you can do is record it. FL has Edison, pretty much similar. So you know, just now you got this overdriven part, which works. The only problem is your sub will sound dirty, very dirty and not clean, and usually you want to actually get it punched through. It has this weird fluctuation and whatnot. So what I like is make the bottom peak, say an engineer cut or whatever. I think that's what it's called, or just a high pass in general. So let's say 75 hertz. Let's draw automation. I need the talk specifically, like right here. So right there, I'll just let it kind of high pass between the talk, because the punch we kind of still want that subby bit, but the tail we don't. So then next thing's next, or for, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm saying random stuff. Anyways, take Serum. Just do just a plain sine wave, distort like this. Let's do a new pitch envelope 35 because I've remembered that that's actually what we're working with. Maybe around 217, 205, because that's also what we're working with. Copy and paste the note down. So this is, now we're just getting that basic thing. Now, what you can do, you can either capture all the harmonics or whatever. But I think I'm just gonna go here. You get some, but so then with that, you can record a new sub. Cool. Now, add an audio track. Boost the signal maybe a little bit. And here's another thing is you want to make sure that stuff is somewhat lining up. So like for example, I think I can tell this is a more upwards motion, or you can match it to this kind of at the end, get a general idea of it being in line in phase, something like that. Nice. Maybe do this as well, since nice. So basically you got that general part, and then more stuff you could do is maybe make a new secondary distortion line. So here, maybe mess with the signal a little more. Want to do that through post though, so like maybe just make some more peaks, like what's interesting. This is kind of like a feels like French chord bass at the end. that signature. So yeah, so say we got a second tail. Now, of course, maybe take some more time to correctly sculpt what you want, but I find that for this tutorial, for tutorial sake, keeping it short and just explaining, what you could do to add to your kick or make it more interesting is more important. So like, so this could help add more movement into the kick. Hold on. Another thing you could do, group these and then boom. Doesn't necessarily seem like it's doing much, but maybe we can fix that. Say for this, I want the audio to kind of drop and come back up. Kind of dropping it and allowing this to fill it. Kind of innocent. So pretty cool. And then another thing is more of changing the punches. I find layering punches is nice. So like say I go through hardcore samples and then I don't know, maybe Tripped has to his kicks that I want. Like maybe I or something. Like sure, this one, for example, for the sake of the tutorial. Now, I don't know if I would actually pick it, but kind of showing what you can do. Bring this into the group, and then listening to it real quick. So let's say, what if we just took this talk out and did this? Nope, not really working, so that's okay. I don't know, maybe this one. Not really. Oh jeez. I pressed the wrong button. I didn't press delete. I pressed end, which brings me to the end of the track or whatever. Ooh, the Outside Agency and their sample pack for their kicks have some pretty punchy ones. Yeah, this one. Yeah, see, like this seems a little more into what I could have been going for originally, and then of course with the punch you can maybe layer some reverb. So like it's not necessarily gonna sound like a gated kick, but it's gonna seem similar to like the idea of how a gated kick would be made is like not doing this and I thought it crashed for a second. It gave me a heart attack. I think that it should be more center like this. Yeah, that's cool. So then, and then with that, you have basically here. So then on the group channel, you could do the same in the mixer, because this is what the mixer in Ableton looks like. But for FL users, I know that you can list all the tracks that you're working with, and then you can all route them into one thing to do something similar to this, to edit it a little bit. So for example, what EQing you can do, say reduce the 200 hertz area a little bit, maybe raise that key, because 200 hertz is where you get a lot of muddiness, which you may not necessarily want. Also, raising this sometimes messes with your kick. The frequencies that you actually just can't hear in general still kind of mess with the movement of the kick. But I'm kind of enjoying how it sounds right now, like this. Maybe add some high end. Something like that. And then, I don't know, more subs. I think the sub's just fine. But yeah, maybe a simple EQ. So before and after. So then that's basically what you have. Maybe make it fall down like this after playing. Because that ending part is just basically like, I don't know, a square pluck. So then with that, you're sampling and then just record it and we can see what the final kick wave looks like. Looks pretty cool. Bring it down. So a few things I'm noticing right here is that there's definitely movement. It's not a stagnant kick. You can see the movement like increasing right here. The punch could be better, like adding a, for example, I guess I can do it for the tutorial as well. A lot of people to add more tickiness, like a very slight transient, is, you know, just taking a hi-hat, I guess would be a good example. Let's see what hi-hats I got. Yeah, sure, this one. Dropping this in and having a very, very short tick adds to that transient. So then say if we record that real quick, and we can compare the two. There might not be as big as a difference in the actual audio view of it, but you'll hear it in the sound ever so slightly. But yeah, that's typically your way to just get to kick making. I've recently tried it. I'm finding that it actually helps a lot more than the normal ways that I typically do from like a 909, because you have to do such a long effects chain to get what you want when you can easily cut that down. So like kicks here I have are examples of what I've actually made in Serum. Not the mid intro one, which sounds like I did not do that, but I did do this one. I did do this one. This one. Actually, that one, maybe not. This one. Yeah. Now, of course, to compare this kick to this kick, as I was talking about, this one doesn't have as much movement like this one, because this one has to have a standard bass because it's a hard style, raw style, or like a straight mainstream hardcore kick, so you know, play it with the melody bass line and all that. This one would be more for like fun little drop or something. But yeah, overall, that's about it. If there's any questions, leave it in the comments below. I've been releasing music as of lately, with Jungle Creature being my last release, and before that, Abandoned. It's my first 2 releases in a year and a half, so if you'd like, check them out. They're on YouTube, but they're also on Spotify and other streaming services. If there's any tutorials that people would like me to do, leave that in the comments as well. And hope you enjoyed and found this helpful. See you.